give you guys a spin. And one advantage of this type of pixel gap again is that there's nothing visible from outside. So you don't have a line running down the side as you could with, say, two squares without honeycomb, you know, in a 2x1. No one will know that you have a pixel gap loot room in here. Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Geezer back with another build video, and I want to do another small pixel gap bunker. You know, I don't really like to do 2x1 bases, so I wanted to try to do something with an even smaller footprint. Working with a triangle. In order to do a 1x1, we're going to need to put the triangle down first. We want to be working off right angles when we're building a pixel gap bunker. So the first thing we need to do is kind of have a square to build off of. However, when we build back, we're going to need to have the top parts of the pixel gap loot room. So we're going to want to put the other triangle on top, because again, we wouldn't be placing it at a right angle onto the square. It would be kind of at a 45-degree angle, I guess. And that's going to cause problems if we try to do stuff like that, because it won't. I don't think that will create a pixel gap correctly. So we're just going to place this square, and now we're going to create the pixel gap loot room as we normally would. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 triangles total. Going to build around here now. Already got one triangle up, and now as you can see, the square piece that we're going to place here, it's going to attach to itself as well as the triangle that we've already built. So we don't have to worry about placing this triangle piece after, which when we're placing it either from this side, it's at an angle, or from this side, it would be at an angle. Maybe you could try right on the point to flip it back. I just don't think it's going to work, or if it's going to be a lot more finicky. You know, it's going to be finicky to try to do that. I'm not sure if it's possible. I would do it this way. You could place the boxes in advance, of course. You know me, I like to have I like to leave a side open when I'm building these things and then just stick stuff in. Upgrade everything to stone at least. Or whatever you want. Alright. Alright, as you can see, crouch down, it's lootable there, no problem. So now we've got a nice compartment, and we would just go ahead and build a base as usual. So it's up to you how you would want to do this. I would just say build one level on top. You've got nice storage in your loot room. You could, of course, very easily put another half level on this for a lot more storage. with the pixel gap here, as you can see, if you put a doorway there, it disguises that you have one there, but it blocks it. So in every build where you're actually using a pixel gap loot room with a 1x1, you're going to be using a double doorway here. So probably a garage door as soon as you can upgrade to it. So you're not going to have a traditional airlock style base in order to give you a place to loot through, right? Because otherwise you're not going to be able to loot through the bottom of the door frame. So for those of you who have always used an airlock style, you'd have to add an extra triangle onto the outside in order to make 2 single doors, which is a good thing to do. What we're trying to do here is make kind of the smallest base possible though. So just keep that in mind. A lot of people will like to have a single door and then a garage door for kind of 5 rockets, or a little bit cheaper if they're using Ecto, right? That style, because it's more durable than 2 sheet doors. And when you can upgrade this to an armor door, if you get that, it makes your 1x1 more of a target, because it looks like you're richer, because you probably will be too. But then you can upgrade the rest of your base to whatever you want. I mean, you can make it high qual if you want, and make these high qual and like armored doors. You do whatever you want. So there are some options, but obviously, unless you add an additional door path or a bunker on the outside, you'll have 2 doors to TC. That being said, your loot room will still be protected. You can see the color there. It takes you a minute to loot this. It's okay because you're protected inside. Okay, so we're inside our base. Let's just load some random stuff in there. Put our refinery in there that we're never going to use. I always like to put my bag by the door here, because we have to leave the door free in any event. And so, you know, with this construction, if you place everything right, it is possible to have the shelf in here. If you're able to jump up on the outside, then you can also save. I never liked how the wood inside and the stone inside textures look like the same. I know this, I guess it's a wood backing or something. I don't know. I think they need to change that. That's what I've always thought. So now we've got extra storage here. So when you're going to do this, you know, one of the downsides, it's not like it's automatic that you're going to be setting things up like this, in my opinion, because you are making this like a solo base. So you're going to want to have space for both a furnace and as well for your workbench. So like get this over as far as you can, like that, and it will fit. But now, well, what are you going to do? Now you don't have anywhere to put your furnace. So we've got an all stone base. Our metal frag cost is very low. So that's one of the downsides here when we build this kind of design. So this is great for storage capacity. We're going to have like just tons of boxes in here. However, what are we going to do about a furnace? So I would argue that it's probably better even to just fill up the space with furnaces. I'd rather have 2 furnaces than a workbench. But, you know, you do want to have a workbench too. So it becomes difficult when you have a shelf. So it's up to you. You do need to keep a little bit of your floor space free to loot through. And if you have 2 boxes down there, you'll have to be aware of that too. That you'll be able to reach. When you're on a build server and you have your hammer out, don't accidentally hit the R key. I wonder if the gap's still there. Yeah, it looks okay. So I couldn't figure out how to get a shelving triangle in here, up here, and still fit in a furnace, a workbench, a sleeping bag, and have lootable space. So you might be able to figure something out, but I'm not sure it's possible. I also tried to put a furnace over here with a shelf and the workbench. I mean, like the TC and the furnace here, but it's not enough space. So I think this is kind of the setup, as I expected. I just wanted to try it out. Kind of just a traditional internal setup here. There's really nothing to this, right? We're not necessarily doing the most optimized setup because, well, there are a couple of reasons, right? We need to be able to loot stuff. We have to be able to get in and out of this door still. When we place our furnace. There you go. I don't think firing your gun is necessary, but for some reason the open dialogue wouldn't work until I fired my gun. It's very interesting. I wonder if I use a melee device if the same thing will happen. Let's find out. Oh, get in there fine now. Okay, I got in. I don't think hitting it with that makes a difference, but it shouldn't. It's not doing anything. It would be a really strange bug. So we've got that, and I would say just put your bag over here by the door, and then you can use that. In terms of what you're going to put in the rest of your base, well, you're going to want to still be able to loot this easily. So something that you can pick up is going to be best, and also still get in here. So you can put a barbecue or a small box here, and then pick it up, because it will probably interfere with the dialogue, the pixel gap dialogue. But I would say that this is probably a good setup. The garage door right here. That's it. Go outside. Just a 1x1. Just a 1x1. I'll give you guys a spin. And one advantage of this type of pixel gap again is that there's nothing visible from outside. So you don't have a line running down the side as you could with, say, 2 squares without honeycomb, in a 2x1. No one will know that you have a pixel gap loop room here. They blow through here, well, they're going to see the floor here. You could upgrade everything to metal just for the sake of the pixel gap, even if it was only, 2 rockets and 3 rockets or less to get through a sheet door and the
garage door if you have to, or armored doors, but you know, probably you're not going to have armored doors on a 1x1 unless you found them in a drop.
That's really all there is to tell you guys about this base. If you have any questions or you see any like major flaws or improvements in what you do with this, please feel free to leave a comment. And if you like what I'm doing here and you don't want to miss anything, any of my future content, please subscribe and hit notifications. I would really appreciate it. And that's it for me today. Thanks, guys.